In terms of assessment during a lesson, I'm often, that conversations that you're having with students, you're getting so much information from those conversations and observations. I have a folder, so I just make notes either during class or at the end of class on sticky notes, and I have it arranged by student name, and I just I stick them in there. So when I, ask a student a question and they give me back the information that I'm looking for, or they don't, then, I can make those observations and jot down some notes. So the assessment is constantly happening in the classroom on a daily basis.
I think it has to double again because if the 3 doubles, instead of the 8 doubling, the product would double to 48.
What do we think? Lots of thumbs up. Did anybody use a different strategy?
I did 10 times 4, which was 40. Then I added 2 more groups of 4, which was 48.
Could you just tell me again what it is that you did? And I'm just going to draw it out in an array like we've done before. And how many units wide is that box?
2. Yeah, 2 units wide, and then 6 and...
How many units do you have here in your model?
3.
Model 16.
There.
Okay, so how are we going to figure out how much packaging it's going to take to wrap this?
If you look at this one, it would look like it'd take up less room than having it stacked up like this, like that in the truck.
But how do you know? How are you going to prove that to your classmates that your first arrangement or your second arrangement takes more or less packaging? I'm wondering if you could tell us a little bit about what you discovered today. Because you've made a statement here at the top of your page that says, the less layers there are, the less packaging there is.
We found out that's not true.
So I'm wondering if you could use your models that you built to help tell us about that.
Throughout the time in the math meeting, it's the teacher will ask questions that are important and related to the math, so it helps.
He actually sits down with us and reviews our work and talks about us and what we're talks about what we're gonna do and how and what we have to do.
The first group I'm thinking about having share is this group that found that relationship between the layers and the packaging. And I'm going to ask them specifically to share about that. So I'm going to ask, what did you discover while you were working with your partner about the layers and the packaging? The other group that I'm going to have share is this group here. And they did a really nice job of thinking about the different possibilities that there could be. So rather than just getting fixed on building one and that's it, they looked at multiple different solutions, and it was really nicely, clearly laid out, I think, as a visual for the other students in their class to see. Talking about, again, the systematic way that they thought about their work, that they have this nice chart where they've included the layers, the width, and the length. Might be another solution to look at. The ticket out the door is another great way just to kind of see at the end of a lesson, who kind of got it, who was able to take what we learned and kind of internalize it and put it down in their own ideas on a piece of paper. Not only on the ticket out the door is it an academic math learning goal, but it's also a strategies that you could use next time. So to think about how they worked with their partner in terms of the effective communication and group work, if there's something that they can do around that to improve their learning. The bottom part of their ticket out the door, the second part, is really an opportunity for them to set a goal for themselves for the next day in learning. What are they going to do to improve their learning for the next day?
Like on the ticket at the door, you say your next step. So then another day you can use that strategy and then it'll help you. to.
And then
And it helps you
Fine.
for like your ticket out the door, because then you have some answers from
yeah,
your peers.
you get some answers from your peers, so you can write that on your ticket at the door. And it's like really.
And also, adding on to that, when you hear your peers' strategy, like it might be helpful, and then if they're not confident enough to tell Miss Byer, then you can kind of like help them through it, and you can kind of tell her what their strategy was.
After the students have had some time to work through it with their partner, and we've had several math meetings or math congresses, I'll ask the students to do an independent piece where they're just independently solving a problem, so I can get an idea of exactly where each student is in order to know where we need to move from there with the class. Do I need to make changes in partnerships? Are we done with this unit? Does everybody have it? Or where we need to move forward to in terms of continued practice. During the whole process of when you're planning and having those conversations and observations, it's really important that you're extremely flexible, because you may set out thinking that you're going to do this, this, and this with your students, but after you do the initial kind of diagnostic problem, you realize that maybe they don't have the background knowledge that they should at that point in order to proceed, or you might try a problem one day and they don't come to the learning target that you had set. So it's really important that you're flexible and that you understand that some things might take a little bit longer. You might need to go backwards at some points before you can move forward.